let's be honest. You're still sitting there, aren't you? In the quiet, suffocating theater of your own mind, replaying a scene that has long since ended. You're waiting for the apology that has become a ghost, a whisper you strain to hear in a storm of silence. You are still holding out a sliver of hope that they will finally turn around and see the magnitude of what you gave, the sacrifices that bled you white, the pieces of your soul you shattered just to keep their world whole, the silent screams you swallowed so their lives could remain peaceful. You wait for them to acknowledge the person who held on, even when it felt like holding onto shards of broken glass. Let me tear down that flimsy stage for you, kid. Let me break the heaviest, coldest truth over your head. They saw. Read that again. They saw. They saw the late nights you stayed up, your mind a battlefield of worry for them. They noticed the way your smile didn't quite reach your eyes anymore. They felt the weight of your sacrifices, the depth of your loyalty, the unwavering strength you offered when they had none. They weren't blind, they were indifferent. They knew the cost, and they simply didn't care to pay it. They watched you break, and they chose to walk away. They chose their comfort over your pain, their silence over your truth, their distance over your healing. And that's the part that cuts deeper than any betrayal, isn't it? It wasn't their ignorance that destroyed you. It was their awareness. The chilling, calculated decision to know your pain and still choose to inflict more by doing nothing. Now, here you are, the architect of your own ruin, or so you believe. You're sitting in the rubble of what used to be your heart, trying to piece together the blueprint of your mistakes. Where did I go wrong? You ask the silence. Let me save you the agonizing journey through your memories. You didn't go wrong. You went real in a world that thrives on the artificial. You showed up with an authentic, beating heart to a masquerade ball where everyone else was hiding behind a mask. Your loyalty, your depth, your unwavering commitment, it wasn't a flaw. It was a language they never learned to speak, and it scared the hell out of people who are only fluent in fake. This world, in its cruel, transactional nature, doesn't reward loyalty. It exploits it. It treats your heart like a natural resource to be mined until it's barren. You keep showing up. They keep stepping back. You give more. They feel entitled to more. You break your spirit just to keep their ego intact. And the very moment you stop, the second you finally choose to stop bleeding for them, you are painted as the villain. Isn't that a tragically beautiful irony? How your silence becomes your greatest crime once your voice is no longer begging for their affection. You thought your love was a healing balm that could mend their brokenness. You believed your kindness was a lighthouse that would guide them back to you. You lowered your standards, chiseled away at your self-respect, making more and more room for their ever-expanding absence, hoping they would finally fill the void. But here is the ugly, unvarnished truth, and I refuse to sugarcoat it for you. Some people are not looking for a partner to heal with. They are addicted to the power they feel while hurting you. They will never admit they broke you. Instead, they will stand on the pedestal of their own narrative and tell the world you changed after they were the ones who shattered you into a million unrecognizable pieces. So now what? You have one option left, and it's not peace. It's not forgiveness. It's war. Do you think I'm being dramatic? No. I'm being brutally, painfully, liberatingly honest. This isn't a war fought with weapons and screams in the street. This is a far more intimate, far more critical battle. This is a declaration of war against your old self. You must choose to commit sanctioned violence against the version of you that begged, that chased, that over-explained, that waited by the phone. The soft, naive version that held on to the foolish hope that one day they'll understand. The version that sat in rooms full of people and felt profoundly, devastatingly alone. That version of you died 100 silent deaths every time they left you on read. Every time they returned like your soul was a cheap motel they could check in and out of at their convenience. That version of you needs to be buried. Mourn it if you must, but then lay it to rest. Because what is coming next, what you are about to become, requires a version of you they have never met, a version that doesn't chase, a version that doesn't explain, a version that doesn't even flinch at the mention of their name. They wanted a war of attrition. Fine. You give them a silence so loud it echoes in the hollow chambers of their pride. You give them a peace so profound and cold it makes them desperately miss the chaos you used to calm. You give them a distance so permanent it turns their fondest memories of you into monuments of their own regret. And let me be clear, this is not revenge. Revenge is a low vibration game played by the hurt. This is evolution. This is ascension. This is the kind of rise so silent, so powerful, that they choke on the very thought of what they lost. It's where your presence becomes a mystery they can no longer solve, and your progress becomes their private punishment. Do you understand? This isn't about making them feel sorry. It's about making you unstoppable. You think healing is supposed to be soft, gentle, pretty, a walk through a field of flowers. No, real, transformative healing is war. Healing is walking past the place you first met without your heart collapsing in your chest. Healing is seeing them happy with someone else on social media and choosing not to break. Choosing to put your phone down and focus on your own breath. Healing is typing out that long, desperate message at 2 a.m., your thumbs hovering over the send button, and then deleting every single word. Healing is the gut-wrenching realization that what you thought was love was never love at all. It was attachment. It was entertainment. It was a survival tactic for them. Whatever it was, it wasn't pure. Pure love doesn't give up. It doesn't lie. It doesn't make you beg for a place in someone's life. You begged. You pleaded. And now you bleed. But the bleeding stops. It stops right now. Time for war, soldier. And this war is against every version of you that stayed quiet when you were disrespected. It's a war against every smile you faked to absolve them of their guilt. It's a war against every "I'm fine" that was a lie to hide your agony. This is a war for your future, for your peace, for your goddamn throne. And this is the one war you are not allowed to lose. Because if you lose now, you will remain in this personal hell forever. A ghost haunting the hallways of your own potential. But if you fight right now, in the disciplined quiet of your own life, through your work, through your health, through your success, then watch. Just watch how the same people who treated you like you were invisible start whispering your name in rooms you haven't even entered. Watch how regret becomes their most loyal companion. But by then, none of it will matter, because this time you don't fight to prove them wrong. You fight because you are finally, blessedly done proving your worth to the unworthy. This time, you fight for you. You know what's funny? Not the kind of funny that makes you laugh, but the kind that burns in your chest and tightens your throat. It's the bitter irony of how they look at you now. Quiet, cold, focused. but they remember when you were soft, warm, and full of that naive little thing called hope. You used to believe that when someone said forever, they didn't have an expiration date hidden in the fine print. You thought love was supposed to heal, not tear you into pieces you didn't even know you had. They cracked your ribs open and watched you love them with a bleeding heart, while they offered you the bare minimum to keep their conscience clear. You screamed in silence, and they just kept walking as if you were a ghost they had trained themselves to unsee. People don't look back because they can't stand to face the wreckage they caused. It's easier to pretend you healed than to admit they are a destroyer, but being broken wasn't your fault. Staying broken, that's on you. Pain is a teacher, and it doesn't whisper sweet nothings. It screams the truth. It strips away illusions and forces you to look at yourself in the mirror, raw and unvarnished. And you stared into that mirror at the hollowed out version of yourself, and you made a decision. I will not stay this way. That was the moment everything changed. Not when they left, but when you looked your pain in the eye and said, enough. You learned the hard way that silence is louder than a scream, that walking away is heavier than begging, and that being good doesn't mean letting people use your soul as a doormat. You thought being good would make them stay. It turns out being too good just makes them think they can mistreat you without consequence. Now you are different. You are learning that real strength isn't in your fists, but in your boundaries. It's in the quiet, firm declaration. I will love you, but I will not lose myself in the process. That is the fire they never saw coming. They ran because your reality exposed their facade. You were gold in a world obsessed with cheap glitter, but you're not empty anymore. You have rage, but it's a controlled, quiet, disciplined rage, the kind that doesn't scream. It builds empires, the kind that doesn't destroy. It evolves. What's more terrifying than an angry man? A silent one, the one who stops talking back and simply disappears into his purpose. The one who doesn't argue, but just levels up so high they can't reach him anymore. That's who you are becoming. Not out of spite, but out of a primal need for survival. You once gave them access to your soul. That chapter is closed. Now, you guard your peace like a war-torn kingdom. They want access now. They have to earn every inch. No exceptions. They hate your progress more than your anger. because it proves they never broke the real you. They just woke him up. And don't you dare think healing means reverting to the person you were before they broke you. That version was too soft, too trusting. Real healing is becoming someone who remembers the fire without being consumed by it. It's walking with the pain not as a burden, but as proof. Proof that you lived, you lost, and you learned. You don't need their closure. You need your own discipline. You don't need their apology. You need your own boundaries. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who have already demonstrated they don't value you. That's not strength. That's slow motion suicide. Let them say you've changed in a world that broke you for being real. Changing is your only path to survival. You keep your heart, yes, but you encase it in armor. You move in silence. You observe more and speak less. Your voice was once a gift they treated like background noise. Now, it is a privilege reserved for the worthy. Isn't it funny? The ones who ghosted you are the ones who panic when you finally act like you don't care. That silence terrifies them because now they have to live with the version of you they created. A person who doesn't wait, doesn't beg, and keeps walking while their world crumbles behind him. Let it crumble. That is the consequence they purchased with your pain. Your peace is not a public service. It is a fortress, and the only ones allowed inside are those who would rather lose sleep than ever see you hurt again. Anyone else can watch you shine from a distance they created. They broke you